Hey folks, welcome back to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. And today again, we will be continuing with the appointment and remuneration of managerial personnel. Right? So in the previous lecture, we had already started with the Schedule 5. Right? So we have discussed in detail the part 1 of Schedule 5, where we had 5 eligibility requirement for a person to be appointed as a managerial personnel. So you remember all the 5 that we had discussed in the previous lecture? Yes, that they should not be imprisoned or fined under certain acts. There should be no detention under a particular act. The age should not be less than 21 and more than 70, and they should not be drawing the remuneration above a certain limit, and they should be a resident in India. Right? So these were the 5 eligibility criteria that we had seen. Now, in those 5 eligibility criteria, the fourth criteria about them not withdrawing a remuneration more than a specified limit we discussed, right? Now, do you guys know what limit it is? No. So today in this lecture, we'll be discussing about those limits, right? So today we step ahead to the managerial remuneration part. That was eligibility, now it's remuneration, and this is contained in the part 2 of Schedule 5. So the part 2 of Schedule 5, it governs the remuneration of the managerial personnel. And if we look at the provisions of that, so the first thing is say that if the company is in profit, then what should be the remuneration? And if the company is not in profit, then what should be the remuneration, right? So if the company is in profit, then the remuneration will be discussed and decided in section 197. And section 197 will be taking up after we have done with the complete understanding of Schedule 5. So for Schedule 5, let's come down to the no profit organization, the companies that are not making profit, right? So we'll be discussing about the remuneration payable by the companies having either no profit or inadequate profit, right? And still, even in that situation, you are going ahead to give a remuneration without central government's approval, right? So this is section 2 of part 2 of Schedule 5. And companies that are making profit would fall under section 1 of part 2 of Schedule 5, right? So in section 2, even in no profit situation, there are two situations. First, the remuneration should be based on effective capital, and on the other hand, we'll see. So first we'll see the remuneration based on effective capital. So this is a chart in front of you, right? So there are certain limits that are given. We'll be discussing those limits as well. But understand, do you exactly know what effective capital is? No, right? There can be different definitions of effective capital. And once you know the effective capital, then it becomes easy for you to understand and to calculate what should be the remuneration, right? So first, before coming to the slide, we'll go ahead to see what is effective capital. So can you see the table on the screen? So when you go ahead to calculate the effective capital, right? So there are certain things that will be added to it and certain things that will not form part of your effective capital, right? So first thing that will be added is the paid up share capital. So you know what is the capital if you have issued shares is the number of shares that you have sold and you have received the money, right? For which the shares become paid up. So if it's paid up, you have received the money. So that is a part of your capital fund, right? Plus if there is some security premium, a premium on which you have sold your securities, right? Even that premium will form part of your capital because you have taken extra money as premium for the same security, right? So whatever money is stored in the security premium account, even that will form part of your effective capital because you can use that money, right? Now, if there is any particular reserve and surplus that you have maintained, but excluding the revaluation reserve, right? And even remember, when we talk about the paid up share capital, you'll be excluding the share application money or the advances against share, right? So somebody has given you share application money, but till now did not buy that is not part of your capital. That may have to be refunded later. Somebody must have given you advance, right? But that person is yet to purchase shares. So how do you account for your capital is the number of shares you have sold and received the money completely is your effective capital, right? When we talk about the security premium account, it is the totality that we have discussed. But when we talk about reserve and surplus, whatever reserves that we create out of profit, right? Why do we create reserve? So that we can spend it in future. So that is a part of our capital that can be used, right? But if some reserves have been created by revaluing certain assets, right? And those are not actually liquid cash that you have received. Those will be your fund once those assets are sold. So I had a land that was worth rupees 10 crore and now it has been revalued to 20 crore. Does that mean I can use the 10 crore? No. I cannot go to the market and say, hey, this is my land. 10 crore is the value. Now it is 20 crore. Give me the 10 crore. I need to use it. And when I'll sell you, you give me the 10 crore more. You cannot do that, keeping the land and getting that money, right? So that amount is not effective. You cannot utilize it. So that will not form part of the effective capital, right? Now there are certain long-term loans that you have taken, right? Or some deposits that are repayable after 1 year, that is, which are long-term. But again, you will exclude all the working capital loan that you have taken, the overdraft facility that you have taken from the bank, the interest which is due on the loan unless it is funded, the bank guarantees and the other short-term arrangements will not form part of the effective capital because short-term arrangement is basically taken up for managing the working capital, right? You have taken an overdraft facility from the bank that okay, 10 CR is my overdraft facility, I could go ahead with that. So that is a temporary arrangement that you make, right? So as to match your working capital. That okay, I need this much of an arrangement because this money is yet to flow in. So you ask the bank, give me an overdraft facility. The bank opens up an overdraft facility for you and you utilize that one. But that overdraft facility does not mean that bank has given you 10 CR of capital to go and spend and use. Right? So we have to be very careful while we are calculating the effective capital. We'll only take the long-term loans and the deposits which are repayable after 1 year, which is long-term. Right? Now what will you reduce? After you have added all of these, you will go ahead to reduce that out of these money that you have accumulated, out of this capital that you have at your end for disposal, you have already disposed of certain capital in the investments, right? So the aggregate of all the investment except in the case of investment by an investment company whose principal business is to invest, whose principal business is acquisition of shares, stocks, debentures and other securities. If you are an investment company, this is not the use of your capital because this is your operation, right? So your capital will not be infused in that. Otherwise, if you're not an investment company, all your investments will be reduced because you have already blocked your capital into investments. Now, if you have any further accumulated losses for the past, you'll have to knock off those losses and then you will have your your effective capital in hand, right? There may be certain preliminary expenses that are not yet written off. Please write them off. Use your capital for that purpose. And then finally, after adding and reducing all these things, what you have in your hand is your effective capital, right? So a company needs to first evaluate its effective capital. And once the company knows what is my effective capital, then you go ahead to understand that, okay, based on my capital, what is my eligibility to give away as a managerial remuneration to a managerial personnel? Getting the point? So the limits that are set in Schedule 5 are very logical limits. They say, okay, if you are worth this, then this is what you can give. If you are worth more, this is what you can give. If you are worth even more, then this is what you can give as managerial remuneration, right? It's not a blindfold thing where, okay, I take up a manager, I give him a handsome salary. And if you look at the effective capital of the company, it comes down to negative or it comes down to less than a CR or something like that. And still you're giving 60 lakhs as a salary, right? You have how much? 1 CR at your disposal, effective capital, and you give 60 lakhs to the managerial personnel. Does that make sense in any case? No. So if you want to give away 60 lakh as a managerial remuneration, if you are that equipped, you must have had that much of a share capital as well. That much of a capital, effective capital as well. Right? Now one more thing is what will be the time for calculating the effective capital? Now do you think you can calculate this effective capital at any time that you want? No, right? Even for the time there are two cases. One, where the appointment of managerial personnel is made in the year in which the company has been incorporated. So now it is on 17, I incorporate my company and I also appoint a managerial personnel, right? Then my effective capital will be calculated on the date of appointment of the managerial personnel, right? So this is my year. I started my year in April and in September I want to appoint a managerial personnel. So on September, from April to September, I've had some working. right? There were certain shares I have issued, certain security premiums that I have received, certain reserves that I may have created in this small period of time, certain loans that I may have taken maybe in the month of May, June, July, right? There may be deposits that are repayable. These things, they come up eventually, right? And maybe over the period I've made some investment. I will not be accumulating any loss in that case, right? But I may have some preliminary expenses which are yet to be written off. I may have invested in some investments, right? So if you are starting in this year, then on the date of appointment, you will check your effective capital and then decide the remuneration. But if you are an existing company already, you have been into your operation, then all these elements in your balance sheet must be present, right? In the previous audited balance sheet that you have. So pick this from there and calculate effective capital and go ahead. No more headache with the same thing, right? So this year, what you have done, you have not done, just let it be. Last year's audited financials, you have it with you. Please pick those audited financials and check as per these parameters that we have discussed that what would be your effective capital, right? So there are two situations. In the first case, if the company is now incorporated, then on the date, because between those days you'll have some transactions. If the company is already running, then the already audited previous balance sheet. That means the latest balance sheet. Audited means don't go 10 years back, right? Oh, yeah, I was audited then. No, the immediately previous year. Now we'll get back to the previous slide. So in case the company is not making any profit, right, and you still don't want to approach the central government, then this is the limit, and within the limit you will have to take your decision, right? So if the effective capital after all those additions and all those deletions come up to 0 to 5 CR, the maximum yearly remuneration to each managerial personnel is 30 lakhs, right? Now when we talk about these slides also, right, the limit, okay, most of you will just mug up 5 CR 30 lakhs, 100 CR 42 lakhs, 250 CR, but that is not the criteria, right? Understand, when you say the term that maximum yearly remuneration to each managerial personnel, so if you have two MDs and two working whole-time directors, right, and you fall in the first slab 0 to 5 years, so do you pay 30 lakhs to each? Yes, because it's managerial remuneration to each managerial personnel. Doesn't mean that, okay, my capital is 0 to 5 crores, maybe it's 1 crore, and I need to pay 30 lakhs, that is my maximum limit. So I have 5, 6 managerial people, I'll divide it in 30 lakhs. No, even an executive gets more than that share, yeah. So 30 lakhs is your maximum yearly remuneration to each managerial personnel. If you are in the capacity, you give more. If you're not, then you see, because this is the maximum limit, not the minimum limit. Right? So whatever capacity you think you can fulfill, go ahead with that. But 30 lakhs is maximum for each. If you are in capacity, if you want to give, you can. Right? Next is effective capital between 5 crores to 100 crores. The yearly remuneration goes up with just 42 lakhs, with just 12 lakhs more. So it is 42 lakhs. So in first 5 crore it is 30 lakhs. In next 95 crores it is just 12 more lakhs. Don't you think it should be proportionate? Then your salary would be going to somewhere in CRs, right? No, it's not proportionate. It's the limit that has been defined already. From 100 to 250 CR. It is again 18 more lakhs, right? 150 more crores of capital and 18 more lakhs of remuneration. Ready? 60 lakhs. If your effective share capital is greater than 250 CR, then 60 lakh plus 0.01% of effective capital above 250 CR. So for example, if your effective capital is 500 crores, big company, right? Then what maximum limit you have is 60 lakhs plus 0.01% of 250 crores, right? So it will be 2.5. Getting the point? 2.5 crores, right? So this will be your effective capital. If you are, this is your effective capital as on your left side of the table, then this would be your managerial remuneration in the right side of the table. Now, before going on to the point B, there's one more thing you need to understand. Now, do you think that, okay, over here what it says as per Schedule 5 is the companies are making profit and you don't take any permission from the central government. So this is the limit for you. That means if you take permission from the central government, you can extend the limit, right? Is there any other way to extend the limit? No, there is a way to extend the limit even after this. So if a resolution is passed by the shareholders and that resolution is a special resolution, then this limit can be simply doubled, right? So you want to give 45 lakh in the first scenario, just pass a special resolution and the limit goes to 60 lakhs. So 45 lakh is easy for you to give away, right? In the next slab, it would be 42 to 84 lakhs, 120 lakhs. And again, 0.02% of the effective capital above 250 CR, right? But remember that has to be a special resolution. You cannot pass an ordinary resolution because this is a special situation and you call a general meeting for this, right? Now, if the managerial person has been employed for a period of less than 1 year, the above limit should be prorated, right? So 30 lakhs is the limit for the entire year. And if the managerial person is appointed after 6 months, then his limit will be 15 lakhs. Don't say, oh, so 30 lakh is the limit. He's here for 2 months and I'll give him 30 lakhs for 2 months, 15 lakhs each. It doesn't make sense, right? So 30 lakh is the per annum limit. So if that person has been serving for a proportionate of the year, then pro rata basis, you define the limit as well, right? These are some minute details that you need to keep in mind, okay? Because these are the tricks. Otherwise, the slab is nothing. You can just look at the slab, mug it up and go in the examination. But understand, in the examination, they will not say, please write the slab. They'll give you a case. So this is a managerial person appointed on so and so date when the company was incorporated on the 1st of April 2017. The managerial person was appointed on 2nd of September 2017, right? And the effective and the other things are this. So you will be very eager and very passionate to calculate, yes, I got the right effective capital, right? But then the case says, and your effective capital calculated was 4.5 CR, fall in the first lab. And then the case says that there were two managing directors who were given a salary of 45 lakhs. And for this, the company passed a ordinary resolution. Now, what would you do? Challenge, right? So you'll all see all the situation. Okay, it's ordinary resolution means cannot be increased, and it is above the limit because I've calculated right. Now see, maybe you subtracted an investment, right, which was worth 1 CR, so your limit went to 4.5, which could otherwise be 5.5 if the investment was not subtracted. And in the question, somewhere you find that the company was an investment company. So the entire answer goes for a toss. So all the points that I have discussed, right, all these have to be there. Don't just mug up even this slide, right? What has to be included, what has not to be included. No short-term loans, no bank overdraft, nothing. Reserve and surplus, no revaluation reserve. Investment, not in case of investment companies, right? All these things you need to have on your tips so that you can calculate an effective capital. Plus, on the basis of that, you can calculate the maximum remuneration, right? And then you can give the appropriate answer. Does it feel a little heavy? Because even when you're calculating this, remember, it is only in case that the company is not making profit. Even that is one point. And you're not taking permission from the central government as well, right? These points are also to be kept in mind while you are preparing for your examinations, right? And once more, I'm again making a disclaimer. I have made it earlier as well. I am not here to prepare you for your examinations. I'm not telling you what would come, what would not come, what to study, what not to study. I'm just here to help you guys out with understanding the topics. And all these topics are given in your syllabus. So I pick up topics from your syllabus and I explain it to you. So when you scroll down my videos, right? So just pick up the topic that you don't understand and go through it. That is the basic purpose, right? Just don't rely on whatever lectures I have given you. Because recently I have been receiving a lot of mails, so please complete this chapter, complete that chapter, the syllabus is pending. Understand, where does the syllabus pop in? I am not preparing you 100% for the examination. When I say 100% means, does not mean whatever I am teaching you is the only part that will appear in your examination. Please check your institute updates. Please be ready with all the material that the institute provides, right? Because some of my videos have been recorded some time back. Maybe it's not updated, right? So don't be under an impression that this video is 100% sufficient for examination. It is not, right? But whatever updates come up, I'll try giving you all the updates as well. But I'm still declaring it. It's not 100% confirmation for your examination. But yeah, all the topics that are there, difficult topics, I'll try to make it the simplest topic for you. That is my word, right? But 100% things will come from my videos in your examination is not my word. Anyways, nobody can take that challenge that whatever they teach, CA final will give your question paper from that. No. I have seen question papers coming from, I don't know from where, and the entire community of CA final examination goes for a toss. and then teachers are writing letters to the institute and those things are happening. So for CA, please, there is no disclaimer. I mean, there is one disclaimer that please don't rely 100% on this. Be proactive and keep updating yourself with the institute. Okay. So part B, the remuneration based on the current relevant profit. That is 2.5% of the current relevant profit. So either if there is no profit in this and if there is current relevant profit, then how do you get ahead with that? So the remuneration shall be 2.5% of the current relevant profit in the case of a managerial remuneration who was not security holder holding security of the company. This is again a point to be noted because in the question you will just get a small line where okay he was holding security worth rupees this and you want to find out the limit. There is a limit. That man should simply not be holding any security of the company. It's a nominal value of rupees 5 lakhs or more, right? Or that person should not also be the employee or a director of the company or related to any director or promoter at any time during 2 years prior to the appointment of the managerial person. Again over here for the 2.5, even this limit can be doubled if there is a special resolution passed in the meeting of the shareholders. Then the 2.5 would go up to 5%. So okay with that? Now okay, one more thing. What is current relevant profit? Right? So section 4 of part 2 of schedule 5 actually goes ahead with giving all the definition, right? So from the definition only I picked up this effective capital for you. Right? So this current relevant profit, I'll not, there's no slab required. I'll just read out the definition for you once, the exact word of the law, and then I'll explain it to you, right? So current relevant profit means the profit as calculated under section 198, but without deducting the excess of expenditure over income referred to in section 4 subsection 1 of section 198 in respect of those years during which the managerial person was not an employee, director or shareholder of the company or its holding or subsidiary company. It was a little bouncer, right? It has to be. Why? Because we have not yet covered section 198. Right? Like in the first topic I left, section 197 is not covered right now. After schedule 5, we'll be covering up section 197 and 198 subsequently. Right? So this will be dealt over there, not over here. Right? It will be a bouncer or we'll be extending the lecture unnecessarily and again repeating the same thing over there. Right? So that will be all for this lecture, guys. I'll see you guys back in the next lecture. Until then, this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.